There's no point manifesting something and being miserable on the way to it. It doesn't really work that way. We have to come into joy and then it will come. We will attract everything we desire. Abundance is an inside job, and your intuition is the key to unlocking it all. Hello and welcome. I'm Rebecca Davison, founder of the Intuitive Life Academy, the leading place to develop your intuitive and psychic gifts. As an ascension guide and light leader, I'm committed to bringing you all the latest tools, developments, and the neuroscience available when it comes to the art of effortless manifestation. This show is for lightworkers and for those who identify that your intuition is your greatest guide to bring you happiness, expansion, and money. With my corporate banking background, you'll receive practical advice along with all the energetic tools that you can apply in your life today. So if this resonates with you, let's jump into the world of abundance and learn what it takes to experience true freedom. Hello and welcome, folks. This is your host, Rebecca Davison, founder of the Intuitive Life Academy. Welcome to the Intuitive Abundance Podcast. We are on episode 14. So thanks so much, folks, for tuning in and listening to the show. I love getting your feedback and hearing how this information is helping you and helping you to look at your relationship with money differently. You know, the why really of the Intuitive Abundance podcast is help people to be liberated and realize that your wealth creation is primarily an inside job. What you think, what you feel, which determines your behaviors and your actions is all important. So this is a holistic approach in terms of creating wealth and life on your terms. And today I'd really like to talk about choosing the way you feel. And I know a lot of people might listen to this and think, I do not choose how I am feeling. So I'm here to bring you this idea and concept that you do get to choose. And I love talking about the power of choice and the fact that you have a choice in every moment, even if the choice in the first instance is to actually start interrupting your thoughts and telling yourself something different. This is actually really the process of mastering your mind. In the first instance, it might have to be recognizing that your thought processes are not actually serving you. They're not actually taking you to where you want to go. And of course, the best way to interrupt your thought process is to A, be aware of it, but B, to start asking yourself questions. So even asking yourself a question like, is the thought that I'm thinking right now helping me or harming me? Am I telling myself the truth in this moment? Or is this just a silly story? Now you might think, because again, we do have something like 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day, and about 95% of them are the same as the day before. So we really are creatures of habit. And of course, what we need to do when we're changing what we're thinking is to start to become aware. And I know a lot of people might think, oh my goodness, when they hear this, but it really is very effective in terms of helping you to become very aware of what you're thinking. And that is to actually do an alarm on your phone every hour that goes off. And when it goes off, that you kind of take a snapshot of what you're thinking in your mind and you just write it down. You write down, this is what I was thinking when my alarm went off. And then, of course, once you've just written it down from a place of non-judgment, not right, wrong, good, bad, I've done well or I haven't done well, it's just to learn how to be the observer of your own thoughts. Because what you will notice about your mind is those thoughts, they don't even seem to have an origin that you can pinpoint. They just pop in and out. They can be pretty random sometimes. Your thought process, you'll take a snapshot and you'll be like, wow, where did that thought even come from? But this is the beautiful process of starting to become more aware, because I'm sure you'll agree your life is moment to moment. And what is happening in the moment is important and it's powerful. And we want to cultivate it to be the highest vibration possible. And the only way to do that is to start to become aware of what the thought process is currently. So, if necessary, you can interrupt it and change it to something that is of a higher frequency. So when you start to do this process and you're starting to become more aware of what it is that you're thinking and your thought processes, you can start using, obviously, questions to start interrupting yourself and to start getting some information. Even asking yourself, like I said, is this true? What is the quality of this thought process? Does it feel good in my body when I think this? Is this taking me towards the life that I am imagining for myself? Would the person that I wish to become have a thought process like this? So that can be a great question to give yourself a little bit of a reality check. You know, for the person that you wish to become inside of yourself, would they be thinking that kind of thought? Is it a high quality thought? Is it giving you a sensation in your body that makes you feel expanded, fulfilled, whole, complete, happy? Or is it undermining you? Is it critical? Is it judgmental? Is it unkind towards yourself or others? Again, and this is just a process of awareness. It's not a process of, oh my goodness, I'm thinking all these horrible thoughts and therefore I'm a horrible person and I'm never going to get what I want. That is not the purpose of this exercise. The purpose of this exercise is awareness and observation, to go, wow, maybe I'm actually not being that nice to myself. Or if somebody came and hung out in my head, would they enjoy it here? Would they be like, oh, this is just lovely. I just love being inside this person's mind. They're thinking sunny thoughts. They're, seeing the best in others. They're being kind to themselves. There's lots of beautiful soft furnishings in here. Whatever it is, this is something that we really want to master, because it impacts our moment to moment, and therefore hour to hour, day to day, month to month, year to year existence. So even a great question that you can ask yourself, which is, how am I going to choose to feel today? And of course, this is a great question to ask yourself in the morning. When you wake up, what am I choosing? So of course, realizing that you do have a choice. And of course, one of the best things to do when you first wake up and your brain starts thinking is to start harnessing your ability to focus your thoughts the way you want them to go, because this has a knock-on effect. If we can do this first thing in the morning and say, I choose to feel good, I choose to feel happy, I choose to feel joyful, I choose to feel powerful, I choose to focus my energy and attention in the way that I want it to go, I choose to experience more freedom in my day-to-day, you're setting yourself up to run a chemical, like a chemical cocktail through your body of energy that makes you feel good. Your thoughts create a chemical reaction in your physical body, and that results in the way that you feel. So if you can master the art of asking yourself this question, how do I choose to feel, first thing in the morning, and start putting into that cocktail all the juicy goodness, right? Like the joy, the bliss, the fun. I'm going to see how much fun I can have today. What would it take to be delighted? What would it take to have a manifestation occur in a way that gives me so much pleasure? How much joy can I contain in my body? How more expanded can I become in my energy field? What else would it take for my day to unfold in a way that really surprises and delights me? Really starting to get into this kind of thought process, you can see immediately how it starts to have a knock-on effect. Probably just from listening to what I've said, you've felt a little bit more peppy. You've felt a little bit more like, oh yeah, that feels juicy. I'll have some of that. But we must learn to cultivate this for ourselves. And this is how we tune into abundance, because of course it's a feeling that we wish to experience in our bodies. And here's a big one, folks. I may have mentioned this before on the podcast, but I will be repeating it again and again and again. Say it out loud. Right? If you want to activate your laws of the universe, frequency, energy, and vibration, you will use your own vibration, which is your voice, because you can feel, I've got my hand right on my throat, you can feel the vibration move through your body. When you say words like joy, bliss, love, that has an energetic frequency that moves through your physical body. So even asking yourself, do you say those kind of words? Are they part of your vocabulary at the moment? Are you saying joy, bliss, love, freedom, expansion, heaven, divine, miracles on a regular basis? What would it take to start adding more of those words into your vocabulary? And also too, this is a really great way to do this, is to just start giving people more compliments. Oh my goodness, you look amazing. Oh my goodness, I love your earrings, or I love your shoes, or I love your handbag. This is not hard for women to find compliments in regards to what they love or admire in others. And to be the person who's prepared to give a genuine, heartfelt compliment. And again, we're doing this from a place of generosity, authenticity. It's not fabricated for the purpose of trying. Right? It is coming from a place of being genuine, because we're choosing to express that. You just see something that you like and you're expressing that. So it's coming from a place of true generosity. I'm just in this moment admiring or appreciating or loving on what it is that I'm witnessing. So learning how to do this for ourselves is a really valuable toolkit. Right, and to refer back to it. And of course, I will be talking more about the power and the ability to have a daily practice and how it has a huge impact on your ability to calibrate to joy. But again, the trick here being the start of the day. Very first thing you say to yourself when you wake up, what am I choosing to feel today? Because again, a feeling is easier to kind of flood your body with the experience of it, and then it's easier for your thoughts to kind of catch on afterwards. So if you're feeling it in your body, then it's easier to get your mind to focus on that as feeling good. It's kind of like a simultaneous process. You're feeling it, you're thinking it, you're feeling it, you're thinking it, and double downing on that and like amplifying it. How can it become even more powerful? How can you turn the volume up even more? How can you amplify the power of the feeling that's moving through your body even more, so you go out and have the most amazing day ever? And of course, if you've listened to the first couple of podcasts, you'll know how I talked about feelings and your thoughts and how powerful they are, how your heart is an electromagnetic field, and again, you're magnetizing to you in every moment through what you are saying and what you are feeling. So really starting to get good at this by doing the practice. And like I said, the practice can come from putting that alarm on your phone. Now, some people are like, they'll go into places where they do things like, oh, I can't do that at work. Right, okay, so let's do a reality check on that. Do you check your phone at work? Right, are you in a job or a position where you have a look at your phone? So if the answer to that is yes, then you can put an alarm on your phone. Yes, it might be on vibrate. It might not necessarily be able to be, a noise, but it means when you look at your phone that the alarm will be there and you'll be able to take a moment to write something down. And it only has to be one sentence, and it only isn't from a place of judgment, again, making yourself wrong about doing it. It is from the process of observation. And it's to be able to get to that place where you can just witness yourself and then start asking some questions around it. Is this really working out for me, what I'm currently thinking? Is it a good vibration? Is it taking me to where I want to go? And being prepared to ask yourself those questions and then doing a little bit of reflecting. Because what you can do, even if you write down a sentence when the alarm goes off, at the end of the day, you can sit down, read what you've written, and then, this is the practice piece and the reflection and the habit that you want to get into, you can start writing out what you would have preferred to have thought instead. So you're literally rewriting the script. And you know why this is so powerful? Because if you keep on doing this practice of observing, and then at the end of the day, rewriting the script, what will happen is eventually your brain will click into writing the script for you when the alarm goes off. And I am really big on habits. I read a lot of books about habits, about Atomic Habits, or there's another book called Good Habits, which is really amazing, and how they've done lots of studies on memory and how habit can even transcend memory, because your habits really determine your outcomes. And as they say, what's the saying? It's like your habits determine your behaviors determine your results, and your results determine your character, something like that. There's a famous quote about it, right? Because watch your habits, because they become your outcomes. So in your mind, what you're thinking, that is absolutely a habit. You have allowed yourself to think in a certain way up till now, up until you actually take ownership of it and start learning how to master your mind. And if thoughts become things, as they do, then you want to learn how to master this good. And again, some people will listen to this and they'll be like, oh my goodness, I am going to implement that tomorrow. I'm going to have the discipline to implement it, and I'm going to come back to it, and I'm going to master my mind because I know how powerful it is in terms of taking me to where I want to go. Other people will listen to this and they won't do it. Right? Or you might do it and then you might stop doing it. And if you're one of those people, that is totally okay. But realizing that this is a practice, and this is what I always say to people about a daily practice, of course you are going to forget eventually. You might do this for a week and just be like, wow, and then you'll be like, okay, 2 or 3 days will go past, right? And then you won't do it anymore. It's called a practice so you can come back and practice. So the idea is, as soon as you become aware that you're not doing it, that you come back to it. And eventually what will happen is your thought processes will come to a place of more neutrality. You won't be so unkind to yourself. You won't be so mean to yourself. It'll be easier to look for the good in other people. You might not feel so defensive. Might not feel so attacked. So you'll be having different thought processes, a different quality of thought. You'll be feeling safer in your body, which makes it easier to think a good thought process anyway. Because of course, folks, if you're thinking, your body hears everything that you think. So if you are thinking and feeling like, oh, my thoughts are originating from this place and I've got no control over it, this is how you start gaining control. This is how you start instructing your mind, hey, I'd prefer to think something more positive. But it means being consistent, and it means coming back when you realize that you've stopped the practice. As soon as you have the awareness, oh, look, I'm not doing that anymore. You don't stop there. You go, oh, look, I've stopped doing that. I'm going to get back into doing it again. Where's my phone? Let me set those alarms. You don't beat yourself up and make yourself wrong and go, oh, I can't do this. You just have the awareness and go, I'm going to make the choice. Remember, awareness, choice. The awareness is, I've stopped doing that. The choice is, I'm going to choose to get back into it because I knew it was actually creating a different result for me. And a lot of people will have quite a lot of energy on this. Like there'll be quite a lot of resistance because it's very different. It's almost like having somebody come and sit and look at your thoughts, which is the observer part of you, which is another aspect of you, which is actually the true self. And again, just doing it with love and compassion for the purpose of, you know what, I'd really like my own mind to be a place that's enjoyable to live. You know, I speak to a lot of people and they do not like living inside their own mind. Their mind is cruel to them, and nobody can be as cruel to you as you are to yourself. Nobody, period. Because you are the one living in your awareness moment to moment to moment. And if those thought processes aren't kind of clean, pure, kind, loving, high frequency, you're probably going to be experiencing some form of suffering. You're going to be experiencing some form of pain. And this again is why we need to be so accountable in terms of what we are thinking and saying to ourselves. Because you can imagine when it comes to your abundance, a lot of the background noise is stuff that we don't even hear ourselves saying, right? Which is, we're not often consciously having a thought form which sounds like, I'm not good enough. Some of us do. For a lot of people, that's just subconscious. It's below the surface, kind of like a low level hum or white noise. And they're not consciously thinking moment to moment, I don't feel good enough. They might be feeling that way, but they might be going, I have to drive to work in this moment, or I have to drop the kids off at school. But the energy and the feeling is there in the subconscious. And it will pop up in different ways. It won't necessarily pop up in a thought form of like, it might feel like I don't feel very good. Oh, she's such a cow. Or he's such an a-hole. Or I can't believe they said that. Or I can't believe they're doing that. Oh my goodness, what's the teachers thinking, allowing the children to do that? Again, it goes into the story really quickly because there is this energy in the mind that is subconscious. It's just kind of brewing under the surface. And then we have all the stress added upon us. So we're often not even really conscious of the thought processes that we're having. But this is the beautiful work of the intuition. And this is why being a psychic detective is the best thing ever. Because when you start looking at your thoughts and start identifying what your thought processes are, especially if you feel attacked on a regular basis, there is energy underneath those thoughts that is looking to be addressed. If you're having a lot of thoughts of like, I feel out of control, or I feel like I have no control, or I feel that there's too much pressure on me, or people are trying to get at me, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm feeling burnt out, I'm feeling like I'm never going to have the life that I want to create for myself. I don't even know what abundance feels like. These people who talk about it, it just drives me crazy. All of that, underneath that, there is emotions that are looking to be addressed. So our thoughts can actually be a clear pathway to show us more about what's actually going on for us. If we are feeling victimized in self-sabotage, feeling that other people are against us, that will show up in our thought forms. And when we have that awareness, we can start asking ourselves more questions. Wow, at that moment when I wrote that down, when my 3 o'clock alarm went off, I can remember how that felt in my body. And if I was going to explore that, I wonder what it would tell me, what's really actually underneath that thought process. If I was listening to the part of me inside that was responding to that, what would that part of me actually have to say? And again, you can appreciate, because the level of mind is actually the lowest level of intelligence that you have available to you. Your body is infinitely more wise than your mind will ever be. Right? Your mind has a bit more of an agenda than your body does. Your body stores information and awareness without so much of an agenda. It will just show you. It's going to show you if you feel hurt or upset. It's going to show you immediately. You'll feel it in your body if you get triggered. It doesn't mean that other people are being mean or horrible. It means that there's something inside of you that is feeling wounded in relationship to what somebody else has said or done. It's not actually their behavior that has resulted in the way that you feel. There's something there that's already wounded that is getting triggered. And a lot of people don't understand this, and that's why they go into intimate relationships and they experience a huge amount of conflict. And they're thinking that it's them and it's hammering on their self-esteem, and the other person's thinking that it's them or they're not compatible. But more often than not, what's happening is people are getting triggered and they don't know how to work through the trigger. So of course you can see when we're working with subconscious energy, whether that's thoughts or feelings, it is huge in terms not just of abundance and how we feel about ourselves and therefore how we show up around money, the decisions that we make, the risks that we take in regards to making or creating money. It very definitely comes back down to our sense of value and our self-esteem. So when we get to the place where we've done some work in regards to looking at what we are holding within inside of ourselves, and we're feeling more neutral, like I talked about in the last podcast, being able to get to a place of neutrality with money, the work really is then, if you want to become great at manifesting and really magnetizing money to you, is to learn how to choose your feelings. To be the person who's like, you know what? I get to focus my attention the way that I want it to go. I get to choose what feelings I want to create in my body. I get to choose to focus on the things that will help me to create those feelings. Now, of course, it is way easier to choose what it is that you are thinking when you've had a good night's sleep, right? When you are eating food that is supporting you, when you've drunk enough water, when you are in an environment where you feel safe, emotionally, physically, mentally. It's much easier to cultivate that, but that's why we do the best we can with what we have and where we're at, right? Every day, we just do the best that we can. But these two things are setting yourself up for incremental day-to-day improvements which compound. You know, the compound effect is so powerful, especially when it comes to working on ourselves. You think about it, if you have an alarm that goes off every hour from like 9 o'clock till 5, you are going to have a much greater level of self-awareness about what you're actually thinking. If you've taken a moment to go, wow, there's my alarm, what was I just thinking? Writing it down. You know, and what will happen, of course, is you'll start anticipating the alarm, and you'll become much more aware of your thoughts in the lead up to that hour alarm going off. Go home, reflect on it, have a look at it. What would I have preferred, or what's a thought that I could have been thinking that's more higher caliber? You know, that's better for me. That would have felt nicer if I had been thinking when the alarm went off. And learning how to work with your mind, because you're, you know, what's it called? Neuroplasticity, right? Where you can literally change the neural pathways in your brain. This is the work of doing that. Because of course, when your brain is anticipating the alarm, what's going to happen is because your brain is wired, right, for the habitual. If you know anything about Pavlov's dogs, this is exactly what Pavlov did. The experiment where he would ring a bell and then the dogs eventually, and the dog would get a treat, right? And eventually what would happen is all he would need to do is ring the bell and the dogs would actually start salivating, right? Because they knew that a treat was coming because they had been trained in that. They had been habitualized in that. We want to be able to do this with our own mind, that we're getting in the habit of thinking positively. And then having that reflection at nighttime to help you start focusing on thought processes that are better for you, that are healthier for you, that feel more supportive by continuing to focus on it. So just some ideas, folks, right? To be the person in the morning choosing, how do I want to feel? I want to feel good, and say it out loud. I choose to feel good today. I choose to feel happy. I choose to feel relaxed, delightful, powerful, amazing. I choose to feel comfortable. I choose to feel in flow. I choose to feel bliss. I choose to feel joy. Even if your mind isn't convinced, if you say it enough, because it's true that you do have a choice, so it's not like you're lying to yourself. I choose to feel this way. If you say it out loud often enough, you will create an energy starting to run around your body. So this is something that you could do when you're brushing your teeth. I'd encourage you to do it the first thing when you wake up in the morning. Again, with your partner, you could say, what are you choosing to feel? How are you choosing to feel today? Get them in the flow of it as well, because it is a choice. It's true that you have a choice in regards to how you want to feel. Now, again, a lot of people might be in the energy of thinking, that all these other things are happening to me. So again, you have to realize you have the power to choose how you respond to it. Now, you think about it. If you had 3 people lined up in a row, and let's say they all lost their job, they could all respond very differently. Somebody could be devastated. The next person could be like neutral about it and be like, oh yeah, whatever. And the next person could be happy about it. They could be like, oh, thank goodness, I wanted to leave anyway. So everybody gets to choose their responses. Nobody's doing anything to you. Nobody's out to get you, right? Unless there's really some emotional conflict going on that probably needs addressing and it's trying to gain your awareness, right? But really, there is nothing that's being done to you. And this can be one thing that it really determines whether we are choosing to be an adult or not, which is I am responsible and I take accountability for all my emotional responses and for the thoughts that I have. As we know, reality is subjective. It is made up of what you perceive, what you make to be true, your own belief system, which of course was going to be cultivated from your background, the way you've been brought up, what you've been exposed to, your culture to a certain extent. But understanding this and having an awareness of this and going, wow, that may be true for the way that I've brought up and what we've been focused on and what our rituals and our celebrations and our traditions are, but does it work for me? Does it work for me in regards to my value proposition? Does believing this bring me joy? And if it doesn't, what would it take for it to be okay for me to let go of that belief system and choose a belief system that does? And you can start by being the person who chooses their thoughts, chooses to be aware of their thoughts, chooses to reflect on their thoughts, and chooses to change their thoughts. So it's super powerful. And again, I get it because the process of manifestation really is that dance between healing any contracted or woundedness inside of ourselves, noticing where we have resistance because that is showing us where we have limiting beliefs around our own capacity, and cultivating joy. Learning how to assimilate to joy frequencies in our physical bodies, training our mind to focus on where we want to go and getting really good at that. Like getting your mind like a steel trap, that this is what I am creating, this is what I'm focusing on, this is what's coming to pass, this is what's going to happen no matter what. Nobody's going to pull me out of my zone of vision. I'm not going to listen to people who are not believing in my dream. I'm not even going to hang out with them if that's necessary, because if they're not standing around believing in me and it's going to pull on my time or my energy, I'm not available for that. I'm choosing where I'm going, I'm choosing what I'm manifesting, I'm choosing my big juicy dream, and I'm choosing to give myself permission to go for it. So really aligning your environment externally, whether that's your home, who you hang out with, your friends, making sure that those people are all supporting you, believing in you, encouraging you, and if not, then just letting go, right? Letting go of anything that's pulling on you or dragging on you. And being the person who is steadfast, because it's always going to be, folks, the people who choose to focus on the end result in terms of their manifestation, and they can keep their eye on the prize, and they are following their intuition, and they're taking the action steps, and they're doing the work each day to refocus their mind, visualize what they want, feel it in their body, they're going to get there faster than anybody else. And they're going to have so much more fulfillment because they're going to have melted away all the resistance. They're going to have done the inner work to be able to create wealth in a way that brings them joy. Because you can make money and still be unsatisfied. You can make money and still be unfulfilled. But this is the beautiful process of manifestation, is it's really the process of learning how to calibrate to wealth and feel joy. There's no point creating wealth and being miserable. as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure you're in agreement with that. What's the point of being wealthy and still being unhappy? We want to do the inner work to be able to release our resistance, to own our value and our worth and feel deserving, and we want to allow ourselves to go for it. And of course, mastering the mind and choosing how you are going to feel each and every day. And you think about it, if you had the habit of getting into that, how am I going to choose to feel today? Not just on the work days, right? Every day. How am I going to choose to feel today? How am I going to choose to feel with my kids today? Maybe it's more patience, right? Maybe it's more stillness, more quiet, more listening. So maybe it's more relaxed, not rushing them. Maybe it's taking the time to listen. Maybe it's going and doing something more fun, like whatever it is, but starting to ask yourself. So again, when you're waking up, guess what happens? Your brain automatically goes to how are you choosing to feel today. This is the power of habits. This is what we want to cultivate. This is what we want to get into so we can help our body and our mind and our energy field all come into that beautiful alignment, which just feels so good, and where we really experience the amazing benefits of what it is to be an amazing creative being in a body. So I hope this information today has been helpful, folks, in regards to really helping you to galvanize your mind, body, and spirit so we can get into that flow state, so you can get your mind going the way that you want it to go. Yes, it takes some effort, but yes, that effort is worth it. If you have a big, juicy dream that you want to bring to fruition, you will do this in particular. You will get really good at being the monitor of your own thoughts. You will interrupt yourself when you notice that you're having a thought process which is taking you to a place where it's going to make you feel bad. I know I had a moment once when I was driving around the bottom of my hill where I live, and I could feel, it was almost like simultaneous. I could see my mind wanting to go off in a direction, and I knew it was going to make me feel awful. So simultaneously, it was like one side of my brain and the other, and simultaneously this other part of my brain just went, no, we're not doing that. And that was because I had practiced it. And it was so amazing, right? It was a little thing, but it was a big thing. It was a little thing because it was just happening in my mind, but it was profound in the respect that I had a moment where I had finally mastered my own brain. Instead of just allowing the thought to meander me across to a place which was going to make me feel miserable, I managed to interrupt it simultaneously and just say, no, we're not thinking that. We're going back over here and choosing a thought process that makes you feel good. And maybe you can understand how amazingly powerful, liberating, and it was really a moment of, I've nailed it. Do what it takes to get to that place, because I tell you what, there's so much freedom in that. When you know that you have mastered your own mind, it creates so much liberation, and that has a massive knock-on effect in terms of you being able to create what it is that you want in your life and world. Instead of feeling like your own mind is working against you, kind of shifts to a place where you just feel like you've got all this support from your own self in terms of what you're looking to create. And again, getting the mind on board, getting your body on board, getting your energy field on board, so it all comes into that beautiful alignment so you can flow towards what you want. That's what it's all about. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed episode 14 in regards to choosing how you feel. I'm sending you so much love and many, many blessings. Do come and join us in the Intuitive Life Academy on Facebook group. The Facebook group, just search Intuitive Life Academy, Creating Profit for Lightworkers. Love, love, love helping people on a day-to-day basis in the community. If you want to be in a vibration where people are supporting each other, we celebrate each other's successes. It's a super fun community. Do come and join us on Facebook. In the meantime, continue to send us your questions and comments in regards to any of your money questions, any of your abundance questions. I'm sending you so much love and light. Take care of yourself, and I'll look forward to connecting with you again next time. Bye for now. Thank you for joining the Intuitive Abundance podcast today. If you've enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe and write us a review so we can help other people positively impact their lives. I would really love that. If you're ready to activate the energy of abundance within you, then be sure to go to www.intuitivelifeacademy.com to sign up for our abundance activation process. Until next time, here's to your ever-increasing freedom. All my love. Bye for now.